have your hat tilted.
Yes. Do I?
You have your hat tilted.
Tilted?
Yeah. Are you from the south side or are you from the north side?
I'm from whatever side of town I want to be from on that given day.
Look, they don't tilt their hats.
I'm a
in
south
the north
sider
side.
today. I know. I got to hit the south side tomorrow, so.
For what?
Devil in the White City tour.
Oh, that's
Inglewood.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
My hood.
okay. Your hood, you said?
Mhm.
Born and raised in Inglewood?
I was born and raised in Inglewood. Yeah.
You and I have had a lot of talks about the paranormal.
Oh, definitely,
yeah.
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
There's a question, though, I've never actually asked you, and I'm curious.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, where do you stand with God?
That's a good question. I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
So I got all the Catholic religion stuff, about God, the higher power. And the main stuff, was not so much for my mother, but my grandmother, her mother, was a very religious person. Mm-hmm. And she was the one who really believed in kind of, if you're not the good person on earth, you're going to go straight down to hell and burn in hell.
Well, it's true.
Yeah,
you're going there.
Yeah, right, exactly. My feelings on why the gangsters, 1920s gangsters, even the later gangsters, probably still stick around. Their spirits are still stuck around here because the mobsters, they were raised Catholic, so they go by that belief. Yeah. My belief is I am spiritual. I don't necessarily believe in worshiping God. Sure. Nothing against it, but.
So you don't identify as Catholic?
No, not anymore. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And but I met your mom. Your mom is really funny, by the way.
She is, yeah. She came into Culver's today, actually.
Oh,
my
did
sister,
she really?
Yeah, to get some fish and stuff to take home.
Hey, by the way, do you want water?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Let's do water. That's what I kind of figured about you, just because we've talked about all sorts of things in the paranormal throughout the years, all the events that we've done together.
Right. Yeah.
But we
never really discussed that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I do love churches, though. I mean, I'm going to church.
Yeah.
But if I see an old church and the doors open, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I like looking at the old, how the churches are styled. How they're the architecture of them, how they're decorated on the inside. So.
Yeah, I recently went to Orthodox Church.
Which one?
It's the Rob. Which one is it?
St. Paul and St. Peter.
St. Paul, St. Peter, and Burridge.
Oh, okay. I've never been to that one.
It's nice.
There's one. There's a St. Paul and St. Peter in Naperville too.
Oh, is there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one's better.
Oh, okay.
It's very Orthodox churches. There's a lot of decorations.
Yeah.
Iconography is really important to Orthodoxy, from what I was reading, and it was beautiful inside.
I went to one in Chicago, within the last year, but I can't remember where. I probably got pictures of it.
And you just went there just for the heck of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was I was looking for something else in the neighborhood, and I saw the church, and people were coming out of it, so I'm like, okay, it's open.
Yeah.
So I went in.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know about the church in Cicero? The one with the weeping icons?
Oh, yeah, the Virgin Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
I haven't either, but I'd like to.
I want to go there too because, the story is it was in the 80s, right?
Yeah, it goes back a ways.
And there was a Virgin Mary statue that was weeping.
Yeah.
And they were calling it a miracle.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't believe it's a confirmed miracle, correct?
No, but I do think people higher ups in the church came out to look at this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it was investigated.
Yeah.
But I don't
think they ever confirmed it.
The Catholic Church rarely confirms.
Yeah.
Miracles.
Yeah.
Which
right,
it's understandable because you have to investigate and.
I recently stopped by the Our Lady of the Underpass too.
Oh, really?
They got it all fenced off now. You can't get close to it.
Oh, wow. That happened, I believe, in 2004, 2005.
Yeah, it was the early 2000s.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it was there was an underpass.
Fullerton Avenue.
Avenue, and under the underpass there was a giant wet stain, correct? and that giant wet stain, like what was in the formation of the Virgin Mary, or at least
right.
That's what people were saying.
And people still put stuff around it. There was like a little shrine around it when I was there. I'm trying to look for the picture here.
Yeah. I remember that too because it was in the front page of the papers.
Oh yeah, it was big news back then.
Yeah, I was in high school.
Guys want to see it?
Yeah. We'll put it in front of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember Mike Rob. Do you guys remember this or no? I've seen this. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
But.
Yeah. So this was like. Well, I already did. You weren't paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah. He explained it.
Yeah, so but yeah, it was basically, you'll probably have to cut this out, but basically in 2005, underneath an underpass in Chicago, there was a large like wet stain that was in the formation of the Virgin Mary.
The Virgin Mary.
Yeah. And like hundreds of people came out.
Yeah.
And like they're blocking traffic.
I thought you were talking about something else, like an actual vision, like she appeared.
No. It was just in the form of the Virgin Mary. So and people would like pray to it, I should say.
Yeah.
Like all hours of the
Leave
night and day.
offerings there.
Yeah.
It became known as Our Lady of the Underpass.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what were we talking? Oh, the Cicero.
The Cicero, the.
Yeah, so that
icon.
wasn't a confirmed one. You were recently at the Our Lady at the Underpass?
Yeah. I found going to Lincoln Park, I've been taking different routes.
Yeah.
And Grand Avenue out by me turns into Fullerton.
Okay.
And I could take that right up to like the zoo area where I park. So I've been doing that. And it was a Sunday. There wasn't a lot of traffic, so I had time. So I just pulled over and walked across the street and took some pictures of Our Lady of the Underpass. And it's right down from the Liars Club, too. It's just down the street.
Oh, so that's...
Yeah. It's not that far.
Yeah. Okay. The event that was recently at the... or that was going to be at the Liars Club, they never went forward with
Tim Sable said he never got his money back, and they never did it, and he hasn't heard anything from that guy.
Nice. Yeah, I actually messaged Tim, and I said, dude, what's the update?
Yeah.
And he goes, I haven't heard anything back.
Because I saw Tim or 2 weeks ago and... that thing at West Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said he never heard anything back from him. He never got his money back. No date to reschedule. You never met that guy, but I met him when I went out to the Birdsall Mansion.
I spoke to him on the phone because I wanted to do a ghost investigation at that mansion. And I mean, I don't know. I never went through with it.
Yeah,
and maybe luckily I didn't, because I know you. It was
we did it. I did it,
right?
and it was fine.
Yeah.
He didn't stay. He just came. He had a girl with him.
Yeah.
They gave us like a brief little tour. He showed me how to lock up the door, and then he left.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I hope Tim gets his money. So.
Yeah, I doubt he will.
Well, you're at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
So I don't know. We'll see. So I'm really interested in this one experience that you had, and I know you've talked a lot about this before, but it's a really interesting story. When your dad passed, something happened.
Yes.
So what happened?
Yeah, and I actually found, and believe this is weird, but where his funeral home was, is within a couple of steps of that church we just talked about in Cicero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know where it was till I was looking for my birth certificate so I can get a real ID.
Why are you trying to get that?
Because I got to travel this year.
Oh.
I'm going to Boston. I'm going to Nashville.
They're making everything.
Oh, yeah, you have to have a real ID. Or a passport.
Oh, my God.
So I could not find my birth certificate. I was tearing my place. Michael was helping me, my daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I finally found it. But I also found this little card from my father's wake. And it said the funeral home on it. And I was like, wow. I wonder if it's still there. Well, I looked it up on Google Earth, and it's a car wash now.
Oh,
it's
really?
It's like not one of those that you drive through car washes. It's one of those where you go in and you spray your car down, and then they have the vacuums and everything. But it's right in front of that church. The church is right behind it.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that back then. Because I drove by there one night before I was going to do something at the church just to check it out. But yeah, that experience is when my father died. I was 14 years old. And I was at his wake, which would have been at the funeral home right there where the car wash is now. And he was laid out in his casket, and I just was up there with him. And I thought in my head that if he can give me a sign that wherever he is, he's okay. Yeah. And in that moment, the lights in the funeral parlor went off, and they came right back on. Wow. So I ran outside to see if there was a storm or something coming. Mm-hmm. Something would have caused the electricity to go out, and no, it was a calm night.
And nobody, I think you said before, nobody reacted.
Yeah, nobody else seemed to react to it.
Yeah. So maybe it was just for you, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm. And what I realized later, and it took me many years to realize this, not only I think was he giving me a sign, he was also putting me on the path that I eventually went on. Okay,
yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So,
where you were meant to be.
Doing all this, paranormal stuff.
When you were a teenager, did you ever read or own any paranormal books?
Oh yeah, I had a few.
Yeah.
Back in those days, and I was a teenager a lot earlier than you were. Back in those days,
in the 90s, right?
Yeah, 90s I already had kids. As a teenager, yeah. That is possible. In the hills, they have the kids at 12. But there were very few paranormal books out there back then.
You probably had Hans Holzer.
Hans Holzer, yes, I still got those books.
Okay.
Lloyd Auerbach, I think, had some books out.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to think who else would have had books out back then. Well, the Warrens, I think, had some books out. Yeah, I never had any other books. I still don't have any other books.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't even think anybody like Troy Taylor had books out yet.
No, he's not. He's younger than you.
Yeah, but I think he first had books out in the 90s.
Oh,
I think he did.
But we're talking about when you were.
Yeah, when I was a kid. That was very few. There weren't the. Those were more. Those guys are parapsychologists.
Right.
Hans Holzer and Lloyd Auerbach, who wrote books about the cases and stuff that they did and a lot of their ghost theory and stuff like that. There weren't all these books that, detail all the haunted locations in an area.
Yeah, but those books have, they're, in some ways, they're probably a little better because they're trying to get into the science.
Right, yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Of ghost phenomena, right?
Yeah.
Whereas today, it's top 10
most haunted places,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So, but you did own some of those books?
Oh yeah, and I still got them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You never really got into things outside of ghosts, did you?
Well, I do. I am interested in it, but not to the level that you are.
Yeah.
I was kind of too busy chasing the ghosts, following the ghost stories, and then eventually doing ghost tours that I didn't have as much time to do that. Mm-hmm. But if there's a location where that's been seen, like up in the Burlington woods,
right.
I'd go. I'd look into that.
Did you have friends that you would go with?
Well, Doug. I think you only met Doug once before he died. He was into everything.
Right.
Kind of like you are, the
Well, how about when you were
cryptids and aliens and stuff? When I was a kid, no, nobody really. Most thought I was crazy.
But you started doing ghost investigations what in your 40s?
The first real investigations I went on, if you want to call those, were the Ed Shanahan ones. And I was probably, how old would I have been then? Yeah, probably around 40. Yeah,
around 40.
Mm-hmm.
So he took you guys to do some.
Yeah,
where did you guys go?
I went Irish Legend twice with him.
Yeah.
To Bachelor's Grove once with him. The Humphrey House. Once with him. Where else did we go? There was this guy Charlie's house in Joliet, but he died a few years ago. Charlie Palmer.
Okay.
He lived in Joliet, right near the casino. And Willow Creek Farm.
Yeah.
Al.
Yeah. I met Al.
Yeah. Where else? I think that I probably did other stuff with Ed Shanahan too. But that's kind of how I started. That's where I first met Snap It.
Right.
They were doing things with him too.
What about in your 20s? What were you doing? Were you doing anything?
There what you do back then. It was very rare.
Yeah.
You know, places didn't let you do a whole lot of investigating unless you just. I mean, I would do things on my own, like go out to Mount Carmel Cemetery and do some stuff around the Julia Bacola monument and stuff like that.
When you were like in your what decade was that when you were in your 20s?
These are personal questions.
Tony, what's your salary? No.
What's your social security number?
Basically,
Give me a piece of paper.
What I'm getting at is
in the late 80s, early 90s, I was in my 20s.
So you guys were probably just relying at that time on like urban legends as opposed to like books that were telling you places. Right.
Yeah, the only ghost hunter I know that was around then in this area was Dale Kaczmarek.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Richard Crowe.
Well, no, I mean, if you want to consider him a ghost hunter, Richard Crowe.
He was more of
a tour guide.
Yeah.
But I mean, he I would say he was a not a paranormal investigator, but like a researcher. But yeah, he was around too.
Yeah. When you read these books by like Richard Crowe, for example, right? Like, and you read the entire book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. And do you ever go through some of these chapters and go like, man, did this really take place? Or
yeah, I wonder.
Recently you and I were just talking about Chinatown.
Right.
And we know that Richard Crowe was big in Chinatown.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like people in Chinatown tend to not be very social.
Right.
And tend to not like divulge a lot of a lot of things about supernatural activity, because I've tried too, and I got nowhere. And so it's like how we were talking about, like how did he get anybody to talk about it?
I don't know
because
how
he said that
it.
Chinatown is just filled with ghosts.
Well, supposedly, and I was just there with Michael and Emily, my daughter and her boyfriend, and I was telling them, we walked down the 22nd place or whatever, to 22nd Street, and I was telling them that this for years was considered the most haunted block in Chicago.
Right.
And then they're asking me why, and I'm like, because Richard Crowe said it.
Yeah, because he said so.
No, I mean, I guess people said there was a lot of poltergeist activity, but that's all I remember.
Yeah, Richard Crowe talked about how Chinatown in general has experienced a lot of poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
Now, I met Richard Crowe.
Yeah.
I went on a tour with him before he passed away.
Yeah.
And great guy, super, super nice.
Yeah.
It was my birthday. He treated me really well. And all I've heard is great stuff about Richard Crowe. Nothing but good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, sometimes when I read some of the things in the book, it's like, oh, Richard, did this take place?
Well, the one thing I'd say about that, in Ursula too, we've talked about it with Ursula and some of the books that she's written.
Yeah.
I know, being a tour guide, almost every tour I give, especially the bigger bus tours or bigger walking tours where I have a lot of people, I get people coming up to me and they'll say, oh, I had this experience here in this place, and I had this happen, and I had, I was sitting in this place, and all of a sudden these things fell off the shelf. So people tell you all these kind of stories. Right. I think they would take all that, make the notes of it and run with it.
Yeah.
And then they put it in the books and things like that later.
See, that's I don't know how to feel about that, because it's like part of you, like that's just how you document paranormal reports.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, at least feel out the witness.
Right. Yeah.
If they seem credible, okay.
Yeah.
Because all you could go by is how you feel about them. But if they don't seem credible, you shouldn't run with it. And I feel like maybe a lot of these paranormal writers will do that. I mean, just the ones in Chicago, at least, because I could say that because I know them.
Right.
Or I've met them. Mike, how's the microphones? Good. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I take all of those kind of like with a grain of salt, that people tell me things.
Yeah. Now, this is going to interest you, actually, because speaking of that, so we know that Richard Crowe talked about the Sacred Heart Cemetery, the devil baby,
werewolf
the
boy, the
werewolf
feral
boy.
baby.
Yeah, the feral baby, and allegedly that he also wrote about how along that stretch of road right by Sacred Heart Cemetery, somebody did encounter what seems to be a dog man or a werewolf creature. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I talked to Dale Kaczmarek about it, because he also wrote about it as well, I asked him for details about the witness, and he's like, I don't remember. He said this was a long time ago. I don't remember. However, and this is the part that I think would interest you, a couple people I've spoken to recently who like don't know each other.
Yeah.
Have had dogman sightings along.
Really?
Along right there.
Right on Keene.
Yeah.
Keene Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah. So that's I'm like now
I'll
I'm
have to
putting
mention
it
that when I do that tour in a couple of weeks.
And that's the thing with the thing with the paranormal, right? It's like it starts out as urban legend, and you can't put too much credibility in urban legend because it's a lot of hearsay,
right.
It's a lot of second and third hand sources. But then you start to get when you delve into the paranormal, you start to get these first hand sources,
right?
Once you deep dive into it, and that's like what's happening. So it's the whole idea that like, man, maybe there's a kernel of truth in urban legends, right?
True. Yeah.
So that seems to be what's happening, at least with some of these things, because for the dogman around Sacred Heart Cemetery, it's so easy to dismiss that story, right? Because we don't have any like evidence of a car crash where
no record shows. They say supposedly the story was in the 1950s. A young couple was driving down that street with their child in the back seat, not in any kind of restraint, because they didn't even really have them back then in the 1950s, and they got into a crash. They died instantly on the scene, but the baby was thrown from the car and never found. And they believe that the wildlife took it in and raised it as its own, and it grew like a hairy coat, and that's the feral baby that they see out there, the werewolf boy.
Right.
But no historical record has ever been found of an accident like that happening there.
And there's a couple different versions, right?
Right.
A man, was practicing dark magic and transformed himself into a dogman or werewolf.
Yeah.
You know. So all these far-fetched stories, but yet people even to this day are now experiencing this dogman. So the other one of the stories that somebody told me was it was a couple that was driving along. It was actually closer to Orland Park.
Oh, okay.
They were on the road to Orland Park, but they were by the forest preserve that connects, because I looked it up on Google Maps, that connects to the Archer, the Archer area. Yeah. And they said that they saw what they think was a wolf on the side of the road, but then stood up on its hind legs and ran away.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, I got really excited about that. And this was it would have been just a couple years ago. So
interesting.
So I don't know.
I just had somebody on the bus tour that I did last Saturday, because there's that one area downtown where the bus turns on like Lake and Wacker, and I talk about Resurrection Mary very briefly.
Right.
And after the tour, this lady came up to me and she says, "Well, what are your true beliefs of Resurrection Mary? Do you think that's just an urban legend?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, there's been sightings of her going back to about 1934.
Yeah.
So, and some of them are very credible sightings. Police officers, members of the clergy, cab drivers, people not looking to gain any fame or anything off of it.
Right.
So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Speaking of Resurrection Mary, very briefly for the audience, in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, there is a road called Archer Road, and the story is that a girl was hit by a car or got into a car accident. There's different versions, and now her ghost is seen along Archer Road, and as a hitchhiker, and people will pick her up. So she's known as Resurrection Mary because when she gets into an individual's car, she has them stop in front of Resurrection Cemetery. But what I was going to say, so that's usually a story that she goes back to the 1930s. However, and you know this story with the St. James Cemetery, the two musicians saw a woman in white in the 1890s.
1898, yes.
So what if, assuming Resurrection Mary is real, what if it actually doesn't go to the 1930s, but it goes even further back?
It could. It was the two, where the stories from the 30s came from was those two folklorists from California Folklore Quarterly that started chronicling those stories. Yeah. And they found them back to the 1930s. But yeah, it could go back before that. Yeah. Maybe just nobody's looked into it.
Yeah, because, I was thinking, it's so funny that you and I have told both those stories, St. James story and the Resurrection Mary stories so many times, and it just clicked to me recently. I'm like, well, wait a minute, the two musicians in the 1890s saw a woman in white, so and that was along Archer Avenue.
Oh yeah, that's St. James's on Archer.
So this whole idea of Mary getting hit by a car in the 30s, like, this might be well, we already knew it might be incorrect, right?
Right.
Because we don't know the real story.
Yeah, nobody knows the real story.
So yeah, it could be the idea that it goes back. If that's true, then I wonder who this ghost really is. Then
I don't know.
So
well, supposedly the 1898 one, they say that was a maid. That was what's the thing that the priests live in? Where did the priests live?
No.
Rectory.
Rectory.
Yeah, at the rectory. The cleaning lady from the rectory had an affair with one of the young priests, and he decided to leave the priesthood and elope with her. And as they were doing this, she was coming in the carriage to meet him, and supposedly the carriage had an accident after they picked him up, and the two of them died. That's supposedly the story.
Well, so it's similar to the couple that dies right by Sacred Heart Cemetery. Yeah. So another vehicle that gets thrown off, and they're right by each other too. So it's interesting how that works out. But and again, that's not a confirmed story, right? That's just an urban legend.
Well, no, actually, the two musicians were interviewed in the Chicago Tribune.
No. I'm talking about with the maid.
That part. Them seeing what they saw in the cemetery, that they signed affidavit saying they saw that. Yeah. But the maid part is only speculation.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in I think the two musicians being in the Chicago Tribune, I think that's pretty substantial.
Oh yeah.
That
definitely.
Maybe they saw something, you know. So I don't know. And then I think I told you recently there's a story of that there was an archaeological dig right by St. James Cemetery. Oh, and they found these skeletons that are about 7 feet tall.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea that there was giants buried on Native American land, because we know St. James was built on Native ground. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the where the church is. It was an what do you call it? An observation lookout post for the French fur traders.
Yeah, in 1776.
Yeah.
Marquette and Joliet.
Yeah. Well, was it a 16?
16. Yeah, 1676. Yeah. They came through there. They said mass for the Native Americans.
Right.
There.
Yeah. And then the church was built on that site.
Right, built on that site.
1853, the cornerstone was laid?
Yes. Yeah, the cornerstone was laid.
So, that whole area is really interesting. Willow
and
Springs.
They did, somewhere I think in the 1890s, they did dig up a bunch of Native American bones.
Well, that's the one I'm talking about. So
okay, they were both there?
So the story is that, like, during that dig, they also dug two giant human skeletons.
Oh, okay.
And they were said to be like I don't know, it was like something like 7 feet tall or something, like really young.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of like I don't know if you're familiar with the Nephilim.
Yeah.
So Rob knows all about that. Yeah.
Actually, I think Mary Sutherland. I don't know if you ever met her, but she wrote about that.
Yeah, I have her number.
Okay.
Her and I have talked about the whole Nephilim.
Yeah.
Mary Sutherland is she's a paranormal researcher out of Wisconsin, right?
Well, yeah, I think she lives around Freeport, Illinois now, but she's moved down to Illinois.
But yeah, she talked about the Burlington, which we went to.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Remember?
I still tell the stories about your sandwich in the Burlington Woods.
Oh yeah, I went in there and I left a sandwich for the ferries as an offering, and then we came back.
He just pulls a sandwich out of his backpack.
Yeah.
We're supposed to leave the ferries an offering. We forgot to get anything. This lady Mary, who used to do tours out in the woods, she used to leave the little M&Ms. She used to sell them at a little cafe that she ran that you could throw to the ferries. And we were walking into the woods. It was me, you, and Jason.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we don't have anything to offer the ferries. That's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
And Jack says, wait a minute. Pulls in his backpack out a sandwich. It was a ham sandwich or something.
Should have just offered Jack.
Honestly, we thought about it. If he didn't have the ham sandwich, that's what would have happened. But luckily, he had the ham sandwich.
He was never seen again.
Just threw the ham sandwich out there. And when we came back,
there was like a perfect bite.
Right, there was a bite in that ham sandwich.
And we figured like if it was a rodent, like it would be all like messed up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's like somebody took a bite of it and then like put it down.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But to Mike's point, I almost was sacrificed because we freaking got lost in the woods.
It was night. It was dark.
You got us lost. And then I almost fell off a cliff. Like I was this close at falling off the cliff. The only reason why I didn't is because Jason, that freaking guy, I guess I have to credit him for saving my freaking life, because I was literally stepping off the cliff, and he grabbed me because we got lost in the woods, and it was pitch black, and at the time I didn't have what do you call them, a regular phone. What do you call regular phones?
Jack had a flip phone.
You had a smartphone?
I didn't have a smartphone.
Yeah, he had a flip phone.
I had a flip phone at the time. So
he's the only person besides my mother that still had a flip phone up until a few years ago. I'm walking around and I'm relying on Tony and Jason for the light on their phone, and then I almost stepped off, and Jason is the one that grabbed me. If he didn't grab me, we should have had more flashlights out there.
We shouldn't have gotten lost, Tony.
I heard you got lost in the other woods too.
Yeah, yes. AJ got me lost.
I've heard that. Yeah, he said he got you lost. Because when he was telling me about it.
Oh, yeah.
He was telling me about it, and I remembered how we got lost in Burlington.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there in the woods in LaBaugh?
No, it wasn't LaBaugh. It was Schiller.
Oh, Schiller Woods.
Yeah,
Woods.
It was Schiller Woods, and AJ got us turned around.
Yeah.
And
he knows LaBaugh Woods very good. I don't know how well he knows Schiller Woods.
Well, he says he said he knew it.
Well, wait. You saw a car in the woods first, right?
That's right.
That's what led us astray, and then we were going the wrong way
Schiller.
because of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw like what looked like car headlights.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh guys, the road is not far. So we're going in that direction.
Oh, okay.
And we don't come across any road. And then so that is what happened. I still blame AJ though, but because he got us further in.
Yeah.
But that was eerie. I mean, I thought they were car headlights, and then I was thinking, well, maybe it was a bicycle. But then there was no trail. So
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
It isn't. Well, it reminds me of the idea that like fairies and woodland spirits would lead people astray all the time, right? So is that what happened?
Maybe.
Maybe
they didn't like your ham sandwich.
The problem is I didn't bring one to Schiller.
Oh, you should have brought one.
So that's probably...
See, next time you go to the woods, always have a ham sandwich.
Yes.
That's little lesson learned right there.
If you guys get anything from this podcast, is bring a sandwich to the woods.
Bring a sandwich if you're going to be roaming around in the woods at night.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Burlington Woods. Yeah. We got lost. I remember.
I want to go back up there sometime, but go ahead.
I do too. I remember kind of hearing what sounded like drums, and that is one of the ghost experiences people have. But I'm not going to say I had a paranormal activity there because I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounded like that's what I was hearing, But it could have been, I don't know, maybe it was far away, distant cars. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could have been.
So, but that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a few weird experiences that night.
I know we did. I'm trying to think of the more, but I don't
I know we were in that stone circle. They call that ancient stone circle.
Yeah.
Is what Mary always called that. And I thought we had some stuff happen there.
We probably did.
But yeah, I don't remember.
Isn't it funny? Like, we've had so many adventures, and some of them even profound, and yet we can't remember.
Yeah.
We can't remember all of them.
Yeah.
Well,
at Allerton Mansion, I had a few that night that I was there with you. I had the one with Anthony where we saw, again, the car headlights.
Oh,
way out in the gardens.
So Allerton Mansion in Central Illinois, right?
Yeah.
I was hosting a paranormal investigation there, and you and Anthony went to a maze, one of the many mazes that are outside, and you guys saw what car headlights?
Yeah, it looked like car headlights, but there was no road or anything back there for a car to even have been on, let alone to see their headlights.
Yeah.
And then they had that experience, too, after we went to... I locked my room, and Allerton Mansion doesn't have... It's a... What, bed and breakfast? Is that what they consider it? Or,
yeah,
something like that. It doesn't have like the key cards like hotels have. It had an actual key. And I had locked the room, and then we went out to eat dinner. Then we came back, and my room door was open.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
And then it was like 7 something in the morning. My TV came on.
Right.
To a blank screen.
Yeah.
I never had that TV on at all the whole time I was in that room. I didn't turn it on because we were mostly gone. Yeah. Just went in there to sleep for a few hours and clean up the next day. And the remote for it was sitting on the desk in the room. So it wasn't even near me. Like I would have rolled over to something and turned it on. But the TV just went on. It was a fuzzy screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When that kind of stuff happens, we're like, what do you think?
Oh, then something's here.
Yeah.
Definitely something's here. You never heard back from those people? About going back out there?
No, I tried reaching out to them.
Yeah, I remember.
They raised the price to like $1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like, forget it.
Oh, that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's like for a place like that, like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not worth it,
You guys never went out there, did you? No.
No, I see. That's a place I would love to have gone with them, but it's like, it's just, what happened?
I said I would have loved.
Yeah.
I thought you said I'm not about to go there.
No, he said I would have loved it.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, even the setting
screw
of
that
it's
place.
Very beautiful. It's like out in the woods.
It's a mansion like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's different like mazes that you could just freely go into and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's owned by the Urbana, Illinois University.
Oh, yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, U of I.
U of I,
right.
yeah.
U of I.
U of I, yeah.
It's owned by them.
But it was the Allerton family.
Right, it was the Allerton Mansion. The Allerton family from Chicago.
Yeah, Samuel Allerton was like a big shot in the Union stockyards. And then that was for his son Robert, right?
Yeah, his son Robert, and his son wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
So he traveled around the world, and then he came back, and then his father said, well, I have a patch of land. I could just give that to you. So he had a mansion built. Yeah.
I wish somebody would give me a patch of land that I could build a mansion.
I'm telling you.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're gonna die broke.
Oh yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But at least we have adventures, right?
Yeah. I'll be that. Well, you didn't go on the tour of the Farnsworth House in Gettysburg, did you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we had that like 80-something-year-old tour guide.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and my daughter and Michael were saying that's gonna be me.
80 years old.
Like that'll be my dad. He'll still be 80 years old.
Just could barely
tours.
talk.
Well, actually, we had to go upstairs, and he was leading us upstairs, and he said to us, "Now I'm old. It's going to take me a few minutes to get up the stairs, so bear with me." And then he ran up the stairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is going to be you.
Yeah, that'll be me.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you're doing tours at 80, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the guy was bad.
Yeah.
Some of, like, Jason and Allison,
I remember
they
were
complained about it, but I
yeah.
thought he was pretty good. He was very knowledgeable.
Jason was so mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
But he got me.
Was Jason kept interrupting him by putting out, like, flashlights and paranormal equipment and stuff, and it's like...
Remember he had... Oh, my God. Remember Jason had that meltdown when we went into... What was that place?
The Jenny Wade house.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, my... Mike and Rob, you guys should have...
Mm-hmm.
We were at Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours... he doesn't listen to this.
Oh.
A friend of ours...
You guys have met him, haven't you? Yeah, he was at the thing in Lockport, Jason.
You guys have met him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to see his face.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
you have met him.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'm sure.
we were at the Jenny Wade house, the haunted Jenny Wade house in Gettysburg, and this guy just wanted to like ghost investigate on a tour of the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not, okay, this is not the time.
Right.
Oh,
What?
I remember him. He was at the recent place we were at, right?
Lockport.
Yeah,
Before,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, the train.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just like,
Before you continue,
yeah.
should I bleep out the name when
No.
you say it? No, okay.
No.
No.
One thing, he's not going to listen to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
two, I don't care if he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really don't. We're not saying the last name either.
Yeah.
So he goes, we start calling him by his last name.
I don't bleep it out.
No, because I told him that he was. I'm like, all right, you need to calm down.
Oh yeah.
Because he just wanted to invest. It's like, dude, this isn't a ghost investigation. This is a tour, and like, there's certain places you can't go, and you can't go off on your own.
Right.
And then when we were in the, what happened? Why did he have that?
He went off on his own, and the girl, there was a young girl giving the tour. I thought she was kind of cute, actually.
Oh, she was. Yeah. She was cute.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of went off on his own, and she went into the other room, and then shut the door. Remember where he was, and then you hear him on the other side of the thing.
Yeah. So she's giving. So she closes the door because like, what was he taking long to come down or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she is like, giving us like a presentation in the basement, and you could hear him on the other side complaining.
Yeah.
And it was just so awkward, and it's like, oh my.
Was.
And there was people like, what's wrong with that guy? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know him. I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
It was just so cringy. But yeah, that was Gettysburg was interesting.
It was.
Because of him and everybody we had on the tour.
Yeah.
And then, I just thought of something. He probably is going to listen to this since you're on here. But I don't care. We're not cutting out anything.
Yeah. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I don't know.
Shut up, Jason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, he was the manager at Joliet Prison.
Yeah, he was the original site manager that Ursula hired.
Now, did you do any tours yourself at Joliet Prison?
Yeah, not as many.
Right.
Initially, Ursula wanted me to be out there. She wanted me to work with him. But then she got all these requests for private tours, and she kept pulling me off that to do the private tours. So I ended up maybe doing 5 or 6 tours out there. And a couple of the ghost hunts that we did, like after those tours, because I would always be pulled for other things. And she had this whole Joliet crew.
Yeah.
With Jason, Earl and Denise.
Christine. Yeah.
Who else was out there? Joanne. That's when she first started with the company. Larry did some of the tours out there. What's her name? The psychic, Ursula's.
I don't remember.
Psychic.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember her name.
I could picture her, but I can't think of her name. She ended up taking over the tour. Oh, John Stevens.
That's
they
right.
They had them up. Shannon, the lady Shannon that you met, she was one of the tour guides out there. So they had a lot of people.
Yeah, but you didn't really do any tours.
A few.
Yeah.
But they only did them for a month and a half. They started like late September, and they did it through like the first week or so of November.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I was out there a few times.
Yeah. What's an experience that you have? Okay, now I know you get asked this a lot, right? You always get asked about your paranormal experiences, but we've talked, and some of them are like maybes, right? Like maybe this was something weird. Is there an experience that you had where you were like, no, this is legit? Like I can't explain it. It is paranormal.
Well, the one that I've talked about before, I just saw him a couple weeks ago when we were at the convention, is Matt in Ashmore Estates.
Oh, that's right. That's a good story.
Yeah. Well, I can tell the story.
Okay.
Ashmore Estates is old county poor farm, and then it became like a psych hospital, and then abandoned.
Yeah.
And they rented out to paranormal investigative groups. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago now that we did that, and we had about 10 people in the group that night. Jason was there.
Yeah.
Matt, Max. Those are the two I was looking for. Now, there was a lady in the beginning that gave us a tour of the place.
Yeah.
We spent the night on the property, but not in the building because there was no electricity in the building. It was November, and it was kind of chilly. And there's only one room that has running water in the building, but they have little bunkhouses outside that we spent the night in. The lady who gave us the tour, when she left for the night, she told me how to lock the back door. And she said, you better make sure you lock it, because I was the one running the thing, because we've had people breaking in or coming into it when it's not been locked properly and doing damage in the building. And if that happens, you're going to have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure that it was done right. So at the end of the night, everybody was outside, either in the parking lot there or in the bunkhouses. I counted for everybody except for Matt and Max. I didn't know where they were. So I decide, which I probably shouldn't have done, to go through this old abandoned, haunted mental hospital by myself to find these two guys. And it's 3 stories high. Dark. There's and not so much because I might get attacked by a ghost or something, but because there are parts of the building that aren't that safe.
Right.
And if you fall through a floorboard or something, you're stuck there. But I get through the first 2 floors. I don't see them. I get up to the 3rd floor. As I turn the corner, down the far end of the hallway, I see what looks like this tall, skinny figure moving around. And, Matt, he's
a tall guy.
He's tall, skinny. And I thought it was him. So I'm like, hey, Matt, we're closing up for the night. No answer.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep walking down there, looking in the rooms, and I'm like, hey, Matt, Max, no answer. That point, I thought that maybe I saw something.
Okay.
And I just kind of flew down the 3 flights of stairs to get out of the building.
How clear was that shadow?
It looked like a person from the distance.
Yeah. Now, how was it moving?
It was moving from like left to right.
Like as if it was just like walking.
As if it was just like walking by.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought it was them.
Yeah.
But then I found out they went down to the gas station to get snacks.
Just so we're clear, literal just walking back and forth.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then when I talked to Robin Terry, who owns the property, he told me that that's common in that area.
Yeah.
That people see that.
Yeah. I've noticed when people see shadow people, they're often just casually just
and that's
walking,
what it was like, just very casual.
And then they disappear.
Yeah.
So that for you, that one is just.
Oh yeah, that one I really cannot explain.
Yeah, that's great. What are do you remember the ghost story around it?
Well, there obviously being an old psych hospital, there was a lot of poor treatment of people there, and I think there was a taller guy. They do have his image on one of the walls of how big he was, who they say they see his shadow figure over there. He was one of the people that lived there permanently, and I believe he died there.
Okay, so
it could be him.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name was. Joe. I think it was Joe something.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
You had
big tall Joe Mama.
Nobody was supposed to hear that.
If I look through my pictures enough of when we were there, I probably could find the thing that they had on the wall about him. But I was just, going through all the pictures and finding it.
You have another really interesting experience that you often don't talk about, and it's the phone call.
Oh yeah.
I really like that story. Can you tell us about it?
All right. Did you ever actually interview her or talk to her?
No, because I messaged the wrong woman.
Oh.
and then you told...
Is she what you want?
Yeah, because remember... And then I told you, and then it turned out that it was the wrong last name.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, I just procrastinated and never reached out to her. But that's because I was working on an article on phone calls from the dead.
Yeah, I remember.
Which I still actually want to do that. So I get to her.
Okay.
But go ahead.
But yeah, I started with the group Snap It, and then I went to another group called All City Paranormal Research, and this was their group, Supernatural and Paranormal Investigative Team.
Okay. That was the first group that you were with?
Yes, that was the first group I was with. They kind of did a few things together. That's how I met them. And I met this lady, Lisa. I also met, she was at Ed Shanahan stuff. I think we all were at an Ed Shanahan thing one time at the Irish Legend. So Lisa, she lived mainly in where she's living now in, I'm drawing a blank. I think she was living in Shorewood when I first met her, but now she's in one of the other towns that's right over there.
By Shorewood.
Yeah, the by Shorewood town. Yeah, that way.
Way.
But she was with a guy who she's now married to, but they were engaged, but then they called it off. So she moved out of the house, and she moved into her grandma's old house in Westchester, right off of Westchester Boulevard.
Why did they call it off?
I don't know. She was seeing another guy, too, Jim, who ran the group, the paranormal group.
Wait, so she was seeing two guys?
She claims they were never at the same time, but I don't know. I didn't dig into it
that's a better story.
Yeah. But anyways, she wanted to, because we were in her grandma's old house, where her grandma died, she wanted to do like a little ghost investigation on the anniversary of her grandma's death.
Yeah.
So we all went there that night. We had set some equipment and stuff out. We had a REM pod that was going off in the other room, and we'd have some other devices that were going off, but not too much happened during the investigation. I had turned my phone off because back then they always used to say you need to turn your phone off so it doesn't, or put it far enough away. They still do that, not have it close to the equipment so it doesn't, manipulate the equipment. After we were done with the investigation, I really had to go to the bathroom. So I went to use the bathroom, and I turned on my phone.
Wait, hold on. Jason. Tony. Oh, man, I messed up. Tony, before we get to that, though, tell us about the investigation itself. So her grandmother passed away, and she was experiencing stuff, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah, in the house. She thought her grandmother was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was convinced that her grandmother was there.
So
her grandmother and her uncle, who also died in the basement.
So how many people were investigating?
There were maybe 5 of us.
Okay. And you guys had regular equipment?
Yeah, just regular equipment.
K2 meters?
K2 meters, a REM pod, a spirit box. Okay. And like I said, we didn't get too many responses from that. A few things, but not too much.
Okay.
But it wasn't until we decided to take our little break.
Sure.
And I went into the bathroom. When I turned my phone back on, it showed that I had a message.
A voicemail.
But there was no missed phone call. You know how it usually shows you have like a missed phone call?
Yeah.
And then the voicemail? There was just a voicemail. So I thought, okay, let me see what the voicemail is. And when I went to play it, it sounded very like garbled. Mm-hmm. You can hear something very faint. I couldn't really make it out. But when I played it for her, she's like, that sounds like my grandma.
Yeah. That's a good story, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, there was no... I looked in my call log. There was no missed call. So I have no idea where it came from.
That's great.
Unfortunately, I lost it when that phone died. But I know.
You
I was
know,
literally about to ask. If you
Yeah,
had it.
I know. I wish I
was
still
gonna
had it.
play
If it would have been now, I probably would have found some other way to save it, but I
Sure.
didn't even think of it then.
we run into this a lot on the podcast, right? It's like we try to get people to like show us the recordings that they have, and like they're like,
I know, and they somehow lose it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
No, but
What a coincidence.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's just
Yeah.
it's kind of the nature of the paranormal, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to eventually talk to her about
Right.
that.
hmm
Just the idea of phone calls from the dead.
Mhm.
That I don't know why that fascinates me, you know,
Yeah.
and especially it seems I read this before. It seems like people experienced it more with landlines
Yeah.
than they do with cell
right.
phones.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Although people do experience it with cell phones
Mhm.
still, but it was more prominent.
Yeah.
with
There were a
landlines.
lot of stories when we had landlines of something coming through.
Yeah.
hmm
There's a book called Phone Calls from the Dead.
Yeah.
But Rob, do you remember how much it was? It was like 300 or
Oh, ridiculous.
it was
For the
more than
book?
300. Oh yeah,
Really?
Yeah, because
Mm.
it's out of print,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was actually by two, like I want to say,
Mhm.
don't quote me. I think they were actually PhD researchers.
Oh, okay.
They were
Yeah, yeah.
scientists, and it might even be more than 300 actually. But
Wow.
So sorry to
Yeah.
interject. So it's on Amazon, $244
Okay,
and 68 cents
Oh, that's a
hardcover.
lot for a book.
Mass market
Mhm.
paperback, $250.
I think
Flat.
it went
Okay.
down from last
oh,
time.
that definitely went down because
Yeah.
it was
It
more than
high.
that.
Yeah.
It was
Was
at
it?
least
Mm.
above 300.
I might get it because I just really
Yeah.
want that book.
Mhm.
You could
It-
do $24.59 for 12 months.
I might be able to find a magical PDF.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
That would
okay.
work.
This-
Yeah. Mhm.
Hypothetically, in Minecraft.
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't get that reference, but
Mhm.
it's good. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know what that means either, but
I'm not going to explain
Mm.
it all, but there was a court case where someone said something about killing someone, and then it was on a live stream, and then he said, "Oh, in Minecraft," to try to say like, "Oh, well, it's in a video game, so it's not
Oh.
real." But
Oh.
it didn't go well for him.
Oh,
So
okay.
okay. Mm.
that's the reference.
Thank you for the obscure
Yeah,
reference.
I actually
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just
Mm.
thought it was a meme that came out of nowhere,
Mm.
as are most memes.
Mhm. Mm.
Rob is just a walking meme.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
Mm.
he'll like, Rob will like send me something that's like humorous,
hmm
and like I don't get it, and I
Yeah.
tell him I don't get it,
Yeah.
and then he'll be like he won't answer
Oh really?
what it means.
Oh.
So yeah, that's
Mm.
our friend
He
Rob.
wants you to get it.
What?
hmm
I found it.
You found it?
You
I found the PDF.
Oh, did you
Oh, in
really?
In Minecraft. Yeah.
Wait, in Minecraft.
In Minecraft. Hypothetically, in Minecraft. I dug it up.
Is it on archive, Internet Archive? Or?
Yeah. It's on an
Oh.
Internet Archive. Yeah.
What does that mean in the archive?
It's a site that has a lot of like books and stuff. You can. I mean, it's supposed to be public domain, but there's a lot of non-public domain stuff on there.
Yeah.
So you could read the full thing. On
Oh heck
Oh,
yeah!
Yeah.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, I'm sending you the
oh,
link now.
thanks, man.
Yeah. Mm. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Along that story, do you know the tattoo parlor
Yeah.
on Irving Park Road?
Yep.
Supposedly, the guy, not the original ghost that they were seeing there, but the
Oh.
guy who eventually bought it later, then died shortly after owning it. Supposedly, on the anniversary of his death, several of the employees, his friends, received missed phone calls from his cell phone number.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
And that was like
Tapeworm, I think they called him.
oh, was it tapeworm?
I think it was
Okay.
Tapeworm. I forgot what his real name was, but they
Yeah.
called him Tapeworm.
Do you remember the contents of the messages?
No, I think they were just missed calls. It
Oh,
didn't
okay.
say anything, but they were missed calls from his cell phone, which
Okay.
had been deactivated
Right.
a while back,
Yeah.
like over a year ago, or earlier, a year
Yeah.
earlier.
There is a story I came across with I believe it was somebody's
Mhm.
relative had passed away,
Yeah.
and they had the body at the funeral
Mhm.
home, and then that night they received a call
Yeah.
from the dead relative, and the family member called the funeral home and said, "Hey, I just want to check, is the body still there?
Yeah.
And everything is okay?"
Wow.
And they're like, yeah. And they're like, because I received a phone call from my loved one, and the director of the funeral home actually said, he like apparently chuckled on the phone and says, this is more common than you think.
Wow.
I don't know how reliable or true that is, but I if that's true, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I actually do want to. It's funny because a friend of mine passed away not long ago, and I was at the wake, and I actually did think about going into their office and asking.
Oh yeah.
But I don't. I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to approach that.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
I get that.
So. But yeah, that's a good story with the.
I'm thinking if they'll let us. I'm thinking about doing a segment for the news videos that I do every year at that tattoo parlor.
Oh
this fall.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah.
So remember we went there, but it was closed.
I remember. Yeah. You do a segment with CBS every October.
Every October. Yeah.
And what do? You go to different paranormal.
Yeah, different locations. That usually is my choice that I pick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking because I'm trying to look for some that aren't that well known.
Yeah.
That's one that's kind of not well known. The 49th and Loomis Headless
Horseman
Ghost. I'd like to do that one too.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because a lot of people don't know about that.
Do you remember when we went there and the guy with the wheelchair?
Yes, the guy with the wheelchair. Again, it was with Jason.
He was chasing us.
There was a guy with a wheelchair. We were at. This is in the back of the yards neighborhood.
Yeah.
There was a guy in a wheelchair chasing us.
Yeah, that was
like
great.
Screaming at us. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, obviously that's not a great neighborhood, but.
Right.
But it's funny, we've gone to Inglewood many times, and I don't think anything has ever happened.
No, I've never had
right?
anything happen in Inglewood.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
We're not
many
saying
times.
it's a safe place.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it's safe.
We're just saying we've taken.
I wouldn't want to stroll the streets by myself at night.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that don't know, Inglewood is a unsavory neighborhood in Chicago, and we've taken tours there because of the post office was the site of the alleged serial killer H.H. Holmes murder mansion, as it's called.
I mean, his building was there. Whether he killed all those people in it that's the alleged
right.
part.
But they never even finished the building, right?
No, not really. I mean, the lower levels were, but the hotel and stuff upstairs was never finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you the story about John, the bus driver, Polish John?
No.
With the big ponytail. I think you've
I
been
know
bus
John,
tours
but
with him.
Yeah.
And it was last summer. I was doing a Devil in the White City tour. Had a good sized group, and all of a sudden we were close to the post office because I could start to see when it's coming up. I know kind of the landmarks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're on a street, a regular like side street in Inglewood. And it's summer, and all these people, these guys outside with the brown paper bags with alcohol in them, and all these people are like hanging out on this, just looking at this big bus, and the tour group looks at me, and they're like, not to interrupt what you're saying, but where are we right now? And I look around, and I'm like, let me find out. So I go over to John, the bus driver. I was like, where are we right now? And he says, I take wrong turn. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were like on one of the side streets in Inglewood.
So many tours that we've done together, and man, when these bus drivers go down the wrong direction, it really puts a damp in everything.
It does.
Because then you have to help them navigate, and it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Do you remember where were we when like the bus couldn't turn around?
Oh yeah.
Like I had to go outside and guide him.
Yeah.
To like.
I don't remember where that.
Do
was.
a 3-point turn.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
That was a mess.
That one bus driver got fired though.
Oh, which one?
The Indian one, the one that. Remember you were on that tour
with the headphones.
Yeah, the Resurrection Mary tour. Remember he refused to.
Oh, he got fired.
Yeah. The one he was going to let us out right by the Ashbury Coffee House because he said we're driving around out in the wilderness here.
Yeah, and he wanted to kick us out of.
Yeah, he wanted to kick us
out
in
the middle of the tour.
Yeah,
he wanted to kick us out and everybody out of the bus.
Yeah,
because he said that we were just driving around in the wilderness.
Yeah.
It's
and he can't drive this big bus in the wilderness.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he got fired?
He got fired. Kurt told me he got fired.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, they finally let him go.
That's.
He had said he caused a lot of damage to buses and stuff like that. He's the one also when Diane was giving the tour, he ran over that motorcycle.
Oh, that's right.
At Maple Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you remember when we were doing a tour and remember the guy that kept passing out?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He was like a biker looking guy.
With his girlfriend.
Yeah, we thought it was his daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she was this like gothic biker looking girl, and we thought they were daughter and father and daughter, but I guess they were.
No, she kept saying my boyfriend.
Well, yeah, but
afterwards,
yeah.
And
he just like kind of,
yeah,
like in the middle of us talking, and then we were, and she's like, baby, are you okay, baby? Wake up.
Passed out.
And then and then a what do you call it? A nurse. A nurse was actually on the tour, and she goes, "I'm a nurse."
Right.
And she's like, "Sir," and they were kind of like hitting him.
Yeah.
And he did wake up.
Yeah.
And then we were like, "Is everything okay?" You know. And then he passes out a couple minutes later.
Right. Yeah.
And then the girlfriend goes, "I'm sorry, we have to stop."
They left.
And we're like, "Okay, we gotta." No, we called the ambulance.
You call an ambulance. Yeah.
We called the ambulance. We had to stop the tour. And then wait for the ambulance to come.
Right.
They were able to wake him up, and he was like nothing. So he was probably.
Well, she kept telling the paramedics he had a reaction to one of his medications.
Yeah.
That's what she kept saying. But I think it was.
What kind of medication?
Yeah, what kind of medication?
So that was.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I remember I went back on the bus when he took him, and then we had to wait for the okay to leave, and then. What did I say? Oh, I went on the microphone. I go, "Does anybody else want to ride on the ambulance?" And luckily, I got a lot of laughs for that. That was nice.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
And then you were still outside.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because they were asking me questions. The paramedics were asking me questions about the whole thing, and I was like, I don't know, just talking, and all of a sudden he just fell over.
Literally, like he just went forward.
He did. He just went down.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Did anybody else pass out that you can remember?
Yeah, one time before a Lincoln Park walking tour, in front of the History Museum, a girl passed out.
Oh, that's
She just went down.
Yeah.
But she actually, the ambulance came. She went on the ambulance.
Yeah.
They checked her over. She said she was fine, and she completed the whole tour.
So does she know what happened?
She just passed out.
Oh. You fell one time.
I did.
Or twice.
Yeah.
And this was in Lincoln Park?
Yeah.
While giving a tour.
Yeah. Because those plaques that they have on the ground, say around the couch tomb where it says 50 tons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was slippery because it had been raining.
Yeah.
And I slipped on it and fell.
But you're Tony, so you just got back up.
I just got back up.
And you just did the tour like nothing. Like a champ.
Yeah, like a champ. that was, remember the joke? Remember when that time we were, the riots that were downtown?
Oh, yeah.
During the pandemic?
Yeah.
And we were supposed to give a virtual tour.
That's right.
That day. And that's why we were down there in the riots. Did he ever tell you about that? That we were down there in the riots?
So we were supposed. This was during all the shutdowns and stuff, but things were kind of opening up, so we could do a virtual.
Yeah, we did the Lincoln Park one. Well, you were there, but my daughter's boyfriend was recording it. And I think you were there. And then you did Prairie Avenue and.
Yeah, we recorded for Prairie Avenue, and then we were going to record for
downtown, downtown River North.
Right, we were going to do a downtown ghost tour, but it was going to be virtual, right?
Yeah.
But it was one of the days that the riots were taking place, and I said
we were somewhere up north, like Evanston. I think we went to the Baha'i Temple.
Oh yeah, that was that was
earlier in the day.
Yeah. So we get downtown and we park, and where we parked, it was fine, And then we're walking, and we hear some commotion, and we turn the corner.
Yeah.
There's a car on fire.
Yeah.
There's people breaking in everywhere. The police were there, but not doing anything. And it was like, oh, it said, Tony's like, let's go. And I said, no, let's stay.
Yeah.
And then, so we went live.
Yeah.
And then Tony's like, so we're here downtown, and I said, Tony, where are the haunted locations in this? And literally, there's like a fire behind us.
That's what he was saying. Like,
The haunted locations
they'll be like,
yeah,
all the fire destruction will be happening behind me, and I'll still be giving the tour.
It was great.
It's like, don't mind that. This is where
I remember there was people on the live saying like, Jack, you need to get out of there right now.
Well, I think your mother called you.
I ignored it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom called me. My sister was on there saying that I needed to get out of there. And then, there was just destruction everywhere.
Nothing happened to us.
Yeah, we were fine. Well, did you fall?
No, not during that. I don't think so.
Oh, I think somebody fell in front. They fell on the glass.
Oh, yeah.
Like where like the buses are. Like, you know how you wait? You guys aren't like... Do you know about like in the city, like there's like buses, the bus stations where you could...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's made out of all glass.
Yeah.
Well, those were all busted. And like somebody like fell on the glass in there.
Right.
But then they got back up and they did like... it was a mess. It was. It was a mess. Yeah, I remember one of them was remember it was the 7-Eleven that was right there, and there was there was this like kid like in his like early 20s that was working there, and they just all ran in and just everybody just ransacked the place. They destroyed the windows, and I remember he was just standing there. He's like, there's nothing I could do, and he's just standing there. And then like when there was room for him to actually leave, he just like walked out and just stood in front. I was like, man. That was intense. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we eventually got out of downtown.
We
went out to Brookfield.
I remember because they were closing down downtown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
they were lifting the bridges up.
Yeah.
So that I think so the riot doesn't escalate outside of downtown.
Outside of downtown. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was something, right?
Yeah, that was something.
So. A lot of adventures.
The joke was I would have just kept giving the tour, and I probably would have.
Yeah.
Be an earthquake and fires and floods and everything happening.
Let's ignore all that.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Let's keep going.
Well, we've done tours in storms.
Oh yeah.
Like outside tours in storms. Remember when we did the Prairie Avenue tour during that storm? We were soaked.
We were soaked. Yeah.
We were soaked. Yeah. But we kept going.
When it storms, that's probably like the best time though, because like water is a great like conduit of energy for spirits. Because when Rob and I, when we were with our previous group before we started doing stuff with you, we investigated Indiana State Sanatorium, and we were like the third or fourth group to do that place. We were right after some TV group was on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a group or two after, which is really cool. But it stormed that night, and it stormed hard. Like, it was cool, but, like, damn, it was crazy. At one point, this one door, like, flew open in the little building we were staying in because the winds were so bad, and so was the rain. So we all waited until the storm just completely stopped, and then we went back into the sanatorium, and we started getting, like, a crap ton of activity.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, it was insane. Voices. Yeah, like the voices just picked up. And I think it was that, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, was that when we started following the voices like up the stairs?
We genuinely thought someone else was we thought there was either like another ghost hunter or like a homeless person. We genuinely thought there was someone else in the building with us because it was so loud, and it clearly wasn't the rain.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we started following the voice, and we went up all the stairs. And if someone was in there, we would have cornered them, and there was no one.
Yeah.
We got to the roof, and at that point, we couldn't walk on the roof for safety reasons.
Right.
There's no way a guy went up there, but there's just no way.
But then the voices were below us.
Oh, yeah, they went below us.
Yeah.
Wow.
They traveled up
Yeah.
and then traveled back down as if to, like, mess with us.
Right.
But, yeah, that's when I believed, like, man, water just...
Well, you also have all that electricity there, too, from the lightning.
Yeah,
storm,
and man, it was a crazy storm. But, like, that storm was, like, such a blessing because we got...
around too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't remind me. That was bad. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because, like, the idea that the voice changed where it was,
Yeah.
you know, because... And it seems like a lot of that happens in the paranormal, right? Like in Bachelor's Grove, you have the disappearing house. Yeah. When you see a farmhouse in the distance, when you go closer to it, it goes further away until it disappears. It seems to be a lot of what happens in the paranormal. You know, you go, especially ghostly, you go closer to it and it like changes where it's at.
Yeah. It's like you're not supposed to reach it.
Yeah.
Or something. Like it doesn't want you to reach it. It wants you to know it's there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't want you anywhere near it.
Well, you know what that's like? That's like in quantum physics where the double slit theory is like when they put a beam of light through a slit because they want to see if it's a wave or a particle. I might be explaining this wrong, but it depends on... Like, it's neither or. It kind of like, it changes depending on what your interpretation of it is. Again, I'm butchering this, but, you know, so it's like that. I'm wondering, my point is that I'm wondering if one day we're going to explain ghostly phenomena using quantum physics, you know? Because it seems like a lot of the stuff is like, when you get to the like subatomic level of things, like regular physics breaks down. And I was actually reading about this. That's why there's a surprising number of physicists that actually don't believe in quantum physics.
Really?
Yeah. There's like this kind of like split in the science world. Rob, you're more of a science guy. What do you think about that? Oh no, you have 2 cents. Put your 2 cents in. No, you're very scientific.
Rob, the science guy.
What aspect? Like,
well, what do you think about the idea that that scientists are like split on the idea of quantum physics? Like, I mean, I think like for us lay people, we totally think like, oh yeah, of course, quantum physics. We take it for granted. Like that's a real science. But there's physicists that are like, no, this is just bunk science.
Well, you know, I think it always comes down to. Like some scientists are stuck in their ways, right? Like they don't want to accept anything new.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the obvious. It might just be that the evidence they're looking at, they don't think it's concrete enough. Like, it's too loose for them to accept it.
Right.
So I could see that being it. I don't know how big the divide is.
Yeah. I you know, to be honest, from what I was reading, it doesn't seem like it's a big like divide. Like there's like some scientists that are like, no, we don't believe in quantum physics.
I'd be curious what the naysayers are saying about quantum physics, but it's probably like I do believe quantum physics. It's probably just they have like an issue here. It's like some people who criticize like evolution. It's like there's something they don't agree with here, something they don't agree with there, and they just say it's all bunk because they disagree with some parts of it. But they're not really looking at those other things. Yeah.
Well, you know, it is bunk, right? Evolution.
Well, scientists want that something
that you
can do in a lab that you can repeat the results over and over again.
Rob gets so angry. I always mess with him that evolution isn't real, because he's a big scientist. This guy. Where are we with time?
We're at an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, are we really?
10 minutes of that. We started recording early, so we're at
okay.
10 really.
Oh, okay. You're leaving the synth. No, I'm kidding. So what do you got? Oh, also, there was that time in the basement of, what do you call that? The church in Sicily.
Oh, yeah.
Where I know you didn't hear it, but there was 4 of us all together in the basement. And we heard a whistle.
The whistle, yeah.
But
it was on the recordings, wasn't it? Or no, it wasn't.
No, we heard it in
you guys
person.
heard it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. At some point, I'm gonna get Kylie on the show, and we're gonna talk about that because she heard it.
Yeah,
I heard it, and then one of our mutual friends, Shell, heard it. But you didn't hear it.
Mm-mm.
So. No, this was actually before I knew you guys.
Yeah, this was Neil had rented out the place privately one night.
Speaking to the microphone, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Neil Gibbons had rented out the place privately one night.
Yeah.
We went out there.
Yeah, and we did an investigation there. We didn't get a lot, but then we heard that whistle, and that was
right. Yeah,
that was really interesting.
I did see how you guys all reacted, like right at the same time.
Yeah, because we were just having like a casual conversation. It wasn't even about the paranormal.
Right.
And excuse me. I said excuse me. I looked away and then I burp into the microphone. That's great.
It felt like a loud burp.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting.
That was very interesting.
But you saw our reaction,
right?
And then I went into the hall and I was like, hello, and there was nobody there.
Well, if you want to talk about the crazy experience we ever had at that church, it was the thing that happened with Anna.
Oh, that's right. The possible.
And you always tell this better than I do. I'm still kind
of. They don't want to hear me. They want to hear you.
They want to hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right. I'll try my best.
Okay,
here.
I'll fill in the gaps.
There was 5 of us, 6 of us there that night. It was Juan, Anna, you, me, that guy Bob,
right,
and his whatever she is, girlfriend.
What happened to Bob anyway?
I still see him occasionally on Facebook, but he hasn't come out to anything.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while since I've seen him at anything.
Okay.
It was just a small group of us that we were investigating the spiritual church in Cicero that night, and we were down in the basement, and we were all sitting around just this one table down in the basement, and this guy Bob, just kind of out of the blue, says, "Why don't we do a seance?"
Right.
And we were just like, okay, I guess we'll give it a shot. Not knowing Bob's qualifications to do a seance.
Which were none.
Yeah. But we did. We did the whole... We held hands, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. I didn't hold your hand.
No, and I'm still sad about that,
I know,
by the way.
Me too.
Well,
I know. It was, yeah.
It's never too late, Tony.
I know. But I think I was actually holding one of Anna's hands.
Okay.
And Juan. I had the two of them.
Right, yeah.
And all of a sudden, Anna just, like, her eyes went back in her head, and she said some stuff, too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Do you remember what she said?
I remember what she said later on, but what she was saying in the beginning was... I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
it's
remember
weird.
what she said either.
But later on, we can't say the word on here, but could we, Mike, could we, how do you say, spell it out? Would that be okay or no?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that on YouTube?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Kill.
Yeah.
And she said that she was going to do that to
everybody
here.
Everybody in the room. Yeah, her eyes just went back, and she kind of sat back in the chair, and then all of a sudden she just went down on the table.
Right.
And she just like passed out.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, get her revived. We're like rubbing her hands and, saying, Anna, you okay? And we were like this close to calling an ambulance when she woke up.
Yeah.
And she just kind of, popped her head back up, and she had no recollection of anything that happened.
No. So, from my perspective, Bob told us all to close our eyes for the seance.
Right.
I kept my eyes open because I wanted to see, just in case anything happens.
Right.
And I see her body kind of like gyrating, like kind of like going like back and forth, like swaying, and at first I thought she was falling asleep.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this doesn't look right. And she started it's so funny that we can't remember what she was saying. It's weird. But she was saying something in a deep voice.
Right. It was a deeper voice than her voice.
And then Juan opened his eyes and looked at me, and he's like, Jack. And then we didn't know what was going on. And Bob tried closing the seance.
Right, yeah.
And then whatever was inside of her, if something was inside of her, was saying that, basically she was going to end all of us. And then he was saying, leave her. And then she goes, no.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, she's like, no.
And then she collapsed on the table.
Right.
And I was like, oh, what the heck? And we tried getting her up.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. So, yeah, we I called the ambulance.
And these are two people that never met each other before that night. So there's no way they got together and they were going to do something like this.
And that was the first time I met her.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So she came to, and she was fine afterwards.
Yeah.
She didn't remember anything. And we were kind of concerned for her. And when we were leaving, we kept saying, are you okay?
Right,
are you sure? You could drive? She goes, yeah. And I do remember at the next ghost investigation we did, she was there.
Yeah.
And I went up to her, I go, Anna, what happened that night? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, I went home, I went to bed, and I was fine. So what do you think happened that night?
I don't know. Something happened to her. I mean, that was awful elaborate for it just to be an act.
Yeah.
And I've seen her in other investigations, and I haven't seen her do that.
We both have, and she's never done anything like that. She's not like, she doesn't exaggerate things.
No.
Do you think she kind of like willed herself to be
That's
possessed?
possible.
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Oh, nothing.
No, what are you laughing at?
No.
No, go to the microphone. I want to.
It's nothing.
It's a memes?
Memes?
Oh, your head is not in the game, sir.
Oh no, it's good.
Oh man.
What I remember from later that night is that we were either in another room or upstairs when that guy Bob says, "Why don't we do another seance?"
Oh, and then we said
we
no.
all just were like, no.
We said no. Yeah. Yeah.
No more seances.
Yeah, that. Oh, man. I can't believe he even said that.
Yeah,
too.
I know. Yeah.
And it's funny. We literally, me and Tony and I, we go, no,
right?
No more
no
seances.
That's enough for one night.
Yeah, we shouldn't even have done that one.
Yeah, we shouldn't even have done that one.
Know? But Tony, I wonder if it's just psychological. Like maybe she's like prone to just believing in things.
Well, I mean, when I was in New Orleans with her, and
I forgot about that. Yeah,
she came to New Orleans, and Veronica was there, and we went to Marie Laveau's grave, the Voodoo Queen,
right? And
she had asked the tour guide at the end of that tour, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, if there was any. He thought there was any chance that because we saw Marie Laveau's grave that something bad would happen to us. Actually, if you look into her history, she really wasn't that bad.
No,
she wasn't at all.
She actually helped a lot of people.
Yeah, she actually helped a lot of people. And the tour guide told her that what you need to do to make sure that you don't have any problems with her is you have to get some Florida water. And you have to go to this tree. He told us where the tree was. It was in Jackson. I think it's Jackson
Square
there. Yeah. Oh no! Actually, no. It was in Armstrong Park. I'm sorry, it was in Armstrong Park. And you're supposed to leave I think it was 3 nickels on the ground. Then we said something, and then you're supposed to throw some of the Florida water over your shoulder. And he said, then you have to repeat that 1 year later to the exact date.
Oh, this is a lot.
Yes.
And then you have to do the Macarena. Jesus.
And I remember Veronica messaging me 1 year later to the date, or as it was coming up. She's like, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Remember what Anna said, what we have to do? And I was just like...
Oh, I remember you telling me.
I was like, no. We looked all over New Orleans for that Florida water. We finally found it in a CVS.
You had to look all over for Florida water in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Man.
We went to a couple other places, and they didn't have it.
I wonder if it's because they ran out, because like New Orleans is known for its...
Maybe that tour guide's telling everybody to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. He's the one that's making money off
he's
the Florida
making money
water.
off the Florida water. Places are giving him kickbacks
Right.
over it. But yeah, we went to several places. We were walking like all over the French Quarter looking for Florida water.
Yeah.
On a day when it was like 90-something with high humidity.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember you went during the...
I went July.
July, yeah. When I went during... I went right after Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see some... I remember when I went to New Orleans, there was we got into town, and there was still people sleeping in the grass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From Mardi Gras?
From Mardi
Wow.
They weren't homeless.
Yeah. Just sleeping in the grass.
Yeah, from Mardi
Wow.
Gras, yeah. That was good. But
yeah, I mean, she did kind of take that all very seriously. I don't know. Would you take that seriously, what that tour guide said?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not, it's for the audience. It's not because like I'm a total skeptic. It's just I don't want to assign such importance to thing. Man, how do I word this? Because there's a fine line between folklore and superstition and the paranormal, right? And those lines are easily crossed.
Yeah. So
I treat folklore, superstition like I treat the paranormal, where it could be something, but I'm not going to play this game possibly with the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of how I feel about Ouija boards.
Yeah.
And I think you feel the same way, where it's like it's best not to mess with it, but at the same time, if you're around it and somebody's playing, like, it is what it is.
It is, yeah. It is what it is.
So, yeah. Tony, what do you got to plug? What do you got coming up?
Oh boy, I mean, I do probably about 300 and some ghost tours a year.
Yeah, 365.
Well, close to that.
Yeah.
It seems that way, anyways. What else do I have coming up? I have the thing in the woods tomorrow.
Nobody's gonna see this in time.
Yeah,
for
I know. Yeah,
but yeah, you're doing a haunted.
Well, we have a daytime one in the woods. That's April 27th.
Okay.
It's all on my page if people look at my Facebook page and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to name the location of the woods, so I'm keeping it quiet.
Yeah.
I also have, what else I have coming up? I have a Lake County tour, April 26th. Resurrection Mary tour, May 3rd, I think.
Where could people find all this stuff?
That you'd find all under Chicago Hauntings, American Ghost Walks. I don't have a whole lot of other personal stuff like that I've set up right now.
Yeah. But the website is American Ghost Walks.
Yeah,
right?
American Ghost Walks.
Yeah.
Well, it still goes into the Chicago Hauntings division of it because, he's got a bunch of tours all over the place, Mike does. So this is still the Chicago Hauntings division part of it.
How many years have you been doing tours?
15.
15? Exactly 15?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were just a boy.
Just a boy.
Yeah, a young pup.
A young pup. Mm-hmm.
It's so funny seeing pictures of Tony when he was young.
Yeah.
I've told him before, I'm like, you were just a young pup.
I was, yeah. Young, devilishly handsome. Warding off all the women, vampire women. Yeah, there's stuff that I got coming up like later in the year.
How many women have you met on a tour that you went out on dates with?
Oh, a few. One that I was with on and off for a while.
Yeah.
That I met on a Elgin tour.
How long was that one for?
That I on and off with her?
Yeah. Don't say her name.
I met her in 2012. I was last with her like 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay. It's the one I'm thinking of, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's.
Yeah. Her and her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple others, right?
There were, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One's in Arizona now.
I see.
Tucson.
It's funny. I see some of these girls, man. They fall over you. on these tours. Like it's like you're a rock star out
Oh
there.
yeah, no, on the tours, yeah, you can get that all the time.
Yeah.
I had a group of girls like a few weeks ago. They
Yeah.
were all they were from like somewhere up in Michigan, small town in Michigan, and they were all bartenders. Nice looking girls.
Yeah, I bet.
Who for some reason they were here because it was like a spring break thing. I don't know. They were too old to be in college.
Okay.
Regular girls in college, but they were like all over me that night.
Oh, that's awesome. And
Nice looking girls too.
Yeah. And we've done bachelorette tours.
Oh yeah. Done quite a few bachelorette tours.
When they were drunk around the couch too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to go over the fence.
Go over the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why that one tour? I think that might have been. I might have known you, but you weren't on that tour that night. It was a private Resurrection Mary tour. I actually met them in the city, somewhere over on Ashland Avenue, and we came out, here. And it was for this girl's. It was her bachelorette party, and I took them out into the woods behind the Ashbury Coffee House because remember we were supposed to investigate Ashbury.
Took them out
They were gonna let us go upstairs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I got there and they're like, oh, nobody told us you guys can go upstairs. They got a show going on up there.
Oh wow.
So I didn't know what to do with the girls. So I was like, okay, let's go out to the woods behind there. Isn't that what you do with the girls?
And then they said, "Okay, Tony,
so
we'll
yeah,
go
they're
with
like,
you."
yeah, they were drinking and stuff. Like, yeah, whatever, we'll go out there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and we have fun out in the woods.
What the heck happened out in the woods?
Oh, we just investigated and we had some activity and things, and the girls were having a good time. Then on the bus, the bus on the way back, the girl whose bachelorette party it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if she called him or her father called her. And her father
I remember that, yeah.
was a doctor at Rush Hospital.
Yeah.
And she's like so drunk and she's like, oh, this was so much fun. The bachelorette party. It was such a great time. Tony he was so good, a tour guide. She's like, Dad, here, talk to Tony. And she gives me the phone. I'm like, hi.
What did he say?
He's like, oh, I hear you're having a good time, and my daughter and the girls on the tour.
And you said, you're damn right I'm having a good time with your daughter.
She's not getting married to that guy anymore. She going
Yeah.
Whoever that guy was. He's out of the picture. I'm your new son-in-law.
You're older
But
than
no,
him?
yeah, she hands me the phone, and I'm like talking to her father, this doctor, on the phone.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Did they tip you well?
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure. There are times you get tipped well. There are times you don't.
Yeah. But you've done some corporate stuff. They tip really well.
Oh, the corporate people tip very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I had a group earlier this year, actually, that tipped me $250. It was a corporate tour.
Nice. What's the biggest tip you've ever gotten?
Probably about that, $250.
$250?
So. Yeah. They just were putting stuff in an envelope and then they handed it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they tip better than school? I know you do a lot of schools.
Schools, they don't tip that well.
Yeah, I didn't think
schools
so.
don't
Of
tip
course
that well.
not.
No, they're kids,
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the kids that tip. Even the teachers, like.
Sometimes the teachers will throw me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, American Ghost Walks is where we could find everything.
Right.
And then
I'm trying to come up with some other areas to do some pub crawls for the summer.
Yeah.
And walking ones.
Yeah, we should set
Yeah,
that
I mean, if you
up.
I'm like I said, I don't have all the Fridays that I'm doing the Lincoln Park tour, so I am free on Fridays.
Yeah.
A lot of the Saturdays that I'm doing the Devil in the White City tour, they're giving me off in the evening, so I could do other stuff.
Okay.
That's how I'm doing the Woods tomorrow, is because I'm doing the Devil tour during the day.
Yeah.
Joanne's doing the regular bus tour at night, so I'm off.
And when are you going to write your book?
I know. I keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
I actually did this winter. They're photographic books. Just through like Amazon, you could submit a bunch of photos. I was hoping to do it where I could write like what the photo is and where it came from and stuff, but that costs a lot more money. But I'm still looking into that kind of stuff. But I got these 2 photographic books that I did make that they sent me.
Wait, but you're not going to put a description?
I know. I need to do that.
Well, you have to do that.
I know I have to do that so people know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully that comes out, later this year or something?
Hopefully.
Okay.
I just get so busy. It's just like it's hard to
I get
sit
it,
down and do stuff because I'm like constantly being asked to do something else.
I mean, I'm still working on my book, and I get, like
right.
you. I get
just so many other things come up. And,
a
lot of people that write the books, they're not doing. They're for one not working anywhere else.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
They have a lot of time just to like sit down and.
They're always married to somebody who makes the money.
Yeah,
there's so many other things that we could talk about, but thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, thanks.
And until you write that book, people could find you on your tours at American Ghost Walks.
American Ghost Walks Facebook page. I have that page, Chicagoland Tours. Mysterious events.
Oh, on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know. You Google my name, you'll find a bunch of stuff that comes up.
Yeah, if you Google, Google Tony Szebelski on in CBS, there's a lot of segments he did where he takes the CBS news crew to a bunch of haunted locations.
Right. Every year we do 4 or 5 locations. Yeah. Oh, I also have TikTok now.
You're not going to use
Chicago
TikTok.
Ghost Guy on TikTok.
Yeah, but you're not going to upload anything.
I mean, I'm not. I got it shot up to like 340 followers.
Yeah,
but it's kind of leveled off.
Yeah, they're bots.
They might be. I don't know. They might be. I don't know.
But thanks for coming on.
Oh
Tony.
yeah.
No, this was great, and there's a lot of other stories that I wanted to bring up, but I think we covered.
Yeah, covered.
That's why we got to have you back. And talk more stuff.
Yeah.
But this was awesome. Thank you.
Oh yeah.